morning, guys. Thank you for joining me. We are doing lesson 7 in our Romeo and Juliet series. Lesson 7 in our Romeo and Juliet series. This will cover the information for Act 4, scenes 1, 2, and 3. Act 4, scenes 1, 2, and 3. Thank you for joining me today. And we are reading this with the permission of Simon & Schuster. Before we even start, let's do a little recap since, we had the weekend to kind of think about what's been going on in this book. So the last scene ended with Juliet kind of being upset at the nurse because the nurse was trying to convince her that Paris was the right choice, right? And then she said that she was going to go to the friar and try to get some sort of, idea or plan from the friar so that he can help her with her predicament. She says, these kids go to like the worst possible extreme possible. Both she and Romeo, if they can't have what they want, right away they go, to that suicide alternative there for them. But, we know that that's not normal and that's not the way it should be. So that's what happened at the end of Act 3. So let's just start Act 4.
On Thursday, sir? The time is very short.
My father Capulet will have it so, and I am nothing slow to slack his haste.
You say you do not know the lady's mind? Uneven is the course. I like it not.
Immoderately she weeps for Tybalt's death, and therefore have I little talk of love, for Venus smiles not in a house of tears. Now, sir, her father counts it dangerous that she do give her sorrow so much sway, and in his wisdom hastes our marriage to stop the inundation of her tears, which, too much minded by herself alone, may be put from her by society. Now do you know the reason of this haste?
Okay, so Paris is at church talking to the friar, making his wedding plans, and what does he give as the reason for not spending too much time courting Juliet? Go ahead and write that in your chat box. What does the friar say is the reason for not spending more time, like making her fall in love with him, courting her? Go ahead and write that in your chat box and I will continue.
I would I knew not why it should be slowed. Look, sir, here comes the lady toward my cell.
Happily met, my lady and my wife.
That may be, sir, when I may be a wife.
That may be, must be, love, on Thursday next.
What must be, shall be.
That's a certain text.
Come you to make confession to this father?
To answer that, I should confess to you.
Do not deny to him that you love me.
I will confess to you that I love him.
So will you, I am sure, that you love me.
If I do.
Are you getting like the little word plays that she's like, what the stuff that she's saying with double meanings? He's like, don't deny that you love me. And she's like, well, I'll confess to you that I love him, and we know who the him that she really loves actually is. And if you said that, Paris said that because Juliet's been grieving, he hasn't had time to woo her, then you're absolutely correct about that first question.
Do so, it will be of more price being spoke behind your back than to your face.
Poor soul, thy face is much abused with tears.
The tears have got small victory by that, for it was bad enough before their spite.
Thou wrong'st it more than tears with that report.
That is no slander, sir, which is a truth. And what I spake it to my face.
Thy face is mine, and thou hast slandered it.
It may be so, for it is not mine own. Are you at leisure, Holy Father, now, or shall I come to you at evening mass?
My leisure serves me, pensive daughter, now. My lord, we must entreat the time alone.
God shield I should disturb devotion. Juliet, on Thursday early will I rouse you. Till then, adieu, and keep this holy kiss.
Oh, shut the door, and when thou hast done so, come weep with me past hope, past care, past help.
I love that because, he kisses her and she's like, he's kissing me. And then as soon as she leaves, she's like, oh, close the door.
Oh, Juliet, I already know thy grief. It strains me past the compass of my wit. I hear thou must, and nothing may prorogue it, on Thursday next be married to this county.
Tell me not, friar, that thou hear'st of this, unless thou tell me how I may prevent it. If in thy wisdom thou canst give no help, do thou but call my resolution wise, and with this knife I'll help it presently.
Okay, so now we're gonna listen for this. You're going to name 3 of the horrible things Juliet says she would find preferable to marrying Paris. So 3 horrible things that she would prefer rather than marrying Paris. So let's listen.
Oh,
God join my heart and Romeo's, thou our hands, and ere this hand by thee to Romeo sealed shall be the label to another deed, or my true heart with treacherous revolt turn to another, this shall slay them both. Therefore out of thy long experienced time give me some present counsel, or behold, twixt my extremes and me this bloody knife shall play the umpire, arbitrating that which the commission of thy years and art could to no issue of true honor bring. Be not so long to speak, I long to die. If what thou speakst, speak not of remedy.
hold, daughter. I do spy a kind of hope, which craves as desperate an execution as that is desperate which we would prevent. If, rather than to marry County Paris, thou hast the strength of will to slay thyself, then is it likely thou wilt undertake a thing like death to chide away this shame, that copest with death himself to scape from it, and if thou darest, I'll give thee remedy.
Oh, bid me leap rather than marry Paris from off the battlements of any tower, or walk in thievish ways, or bid me lurk where serpents are. Chain me with roaring bears, or hide me nightly in a charnel house, or covered quite with dead men's rattling bones, with reeky shanks and yellow.
Okay, so what are the 3 things that she says she would rather do than marry Paris? Go ahead and write that. She just went over a bunch of things, so just give me 3.
Chapless skulls, or bid me go into a new-made grave, and hide me with a dead man in his shroud. Things that to hear them told have made me tremble, and I will do it without fear or doubt, to live an unstained wife to my sweet love.
She says that she would rather, she tells the friar that she would rather leap off of a tower and kill herself, right? She says that she would rather be chained to a roaring bear, right, than marry Paris. Or she would rather be locked in a tomb and covered with dead men's bones rather than, marry Paris.
Hold then. Go home. Be merry. Give consent to marry Paris. Wednesday is tomorrow. Tomorrow night, look that thou lie alone. Let not the nurse lie with thee in thy chamber. Take thou this vial, being then in bed, and this distilling liquor drink thou off, when presently through all thy veins shall run a cold and drowsy humour. For no pulse shall keep his native progress, but surcease. No warmth, no breath shall testify thou liv'st. The roses in thy lips and cheeks shall fade to paly ashes. Thy eyes' windows fall like death when he shuts up the day of life. Each part, deprived of supple government, shall, stiff and stark and cold, appear like death. And in this borrowed likeness of shrunk death thou shalt continue 42 hours, and then awake as from a pleasant sleep. Now, when the bridegroom in the morning comes to rouse thee from thy bed, there art thou dead. Then, as the manner of our country is, in thy best robes, uncovered on the bier, thou shalt be borne to that same ancient vault where all the kindred of the Capulets lie. In the meantime, against thou shalt awake, shall Romeo by my letters know our drift, and hither shall he come, and he and I will watch thy waking. And that very night shall Romeo bear thee hence to Mantua. And this shall free thee from this present shame, if no inconstant toy nor womanish fear abate thy valor in the acting it.
Give me.
Okay, so the friar has a plan, right? And he tells her the plan. What is the friar's plan? Write it in your own words, write it in the chat box. You may have noticed that he said, thou shalt continue for 42 hours. How long is 42 hours? Go ahead and write that. Yeah, play dead. He gave her a vial, and she is going to take that vial. She's going to sleep on her own, in her own bed. She says, he asked her, don't let the nurse sleep with you that night. Take this vial and drink the contents of it. Remember how the play started when we first were introduced to the friar. He was in his garden picking herbs and he's medicinal, right? He's like a medicinal man of medicine. And he gave her a potion that will make it seem like she is dead. It's going to slow her breathing down. It's going to make it seem like her pulse is going to stop. It's going to make it seem like she is dead. It'll last for 2 and 40 hours, which is how long? Go ahead and write that in your chat box. And then while she seems that she's dead and they're making preparations for her funeral and they're getting her buried. Now, when they're burying her, remember, they're not going to bury her underground. Back in these times, they used to have like a vault, and they would put the dead people in the vault, like in a chamber in the cemetery, right? Not underground, not like in a claustrophobic, kind of environment. So she'll be like in this, inside a vault in the cemetery, inside their tomb in the cemetery. And then, so 2 and 40 hours is 42 hours. It's just backwards, 2 plus 40, 42 hours, right? Which is about 2 days, yes, almost 2 days. So while they're making preparations, they're going to put her body in the vault, and he'll get word to Romeo. Romeo will come and he'll rescue her, and he'll take her to Mantua, and they'll live in Mantua happily ever after. In the meantime, everybody will think she's dead, and she'll be able to escape this fate. Okay? Oh my goodness, there are so many things that could go wrong with this plan, right? So just think how many things could possibly go wrong with this plan. But if it works, it's perfect, because then she and Romeo can live happily ever after.
Give me, tell not me of fear.
Hold, get you gone. Be strong and prosperous in this resolve. I'll send a friar with speed to Mantua with my letters to thy lord.
Love give me strength, and strength shall help afford. Farewell, dear father.
That's important. He says that he's going to send a messenger over to Mantua so they can tell Romeo of the plan, right? So Romeo will know what the plan is. So he's getting a messenger to Mantua, and in the meantime, she's going to take this vow and basically fake her death. And here we go, scene 2. In scene 2, Capulet is making plans for the wedding on Thursday. Remember, he is super excited about marrying his daughter off. And Juliet arrives. Remember, she said that she was going to church to confess her sins because she was disrespectful to her father. That was her excuse for leaving. And now she arrives.
So many guests invited, here are writ. Sarah, go hire me 20 cunning cooks.
You shall have none ill, sir, for I'll try if they can lick their fingers.
How canst thou try them so?
Marry, sir, 'tis an ill cook that cannot lick his own fingers.
So how do you know if you're a good cook? Go ahead and write that in your chat box. And that makes sense to us, really. If you're a good cook, you can do what? Go ahead and write that in your chat box. And that makes sense to us because if you're a good cook, you want to taste your cooking, right? So you can eat your own food. If you can't eat your own food, then it's kind of, maybe you're not such a good cook.
Therefore, he that cannot lick his fingers goes not with me.
Go, be gone. We shall be much unfurnished for this time. What, is my daughter gone to Friar Laurence?
Aye, forsooth.
Well, he may chance to do some good on her. A peevish, self-willed harlotry it is.
See where she comes from shrift with merry look.
How now, my headstrong? Where have you been gadding?
Where I have learned me to repent the sin of disobedient opposition to you and your behests, and am enjoined by holy Laurence to fall prostrate here, to beg your pardon. Pardon, I beseech you, henceforward I am ever ruled by you.
Send for the county. Go tell him of this. I'll have this knot knit up tomorrow morning.
I met the youthful lord at Laurence' cell, and gave him what becomed love I might, not stepping o'er the bounds of modesty.
Why, I am glad on't. This is well. Stand up. This is as should be. Let me see the county. Aye, Mary, go, I say, and fetch him hither. Now, afore God, this reverend holy friar, all our whole city is much bound to him.
Nurse, will you go with me into my closet to help me sort such needful ornaments as you think fit to furnish me tomorrow?
No, not till Thursday. There is time enough.
Go, nurse. Go with her. We'll to church tomorrow.
Okay, so she went home and she told her dad that she apologizes, that she was disrespectful, and then her dad, in return for her good attitude, did what? Go ahead and write that in the chat box. What's going on with the dates here? Because she's supposed to be married on Thursday. It's Tuesday then, right? He's going to marry her early. So he pushed the wedding up to Wednesday, which is not necessarily great. And it's, might put the plan in jeopardy.
We shall be short in our provision. 'Tis now near night.
Tush, I will stir about, and all things shall be well, I warrant thee, wife. Go thou to Juliet. Help to deck up her. I'll not to bed tonight. Let me alone. I'll play the housewife for this once. What ho! They are all forth. Well, I will walk myself to County Paris to prepare up him against tomorrow. My heart is wondrous light since this same wayward girl is so reclaimed.
Okay, so he is super excited, and because he's super excited, he says that who is going to stay up all night and make the preparations for the wedding? Who is going to stay up all night and make the preparations for the wedding? Go ahead and write that. Yeah, so he says he'll play the housewife, right? So he says, go and, deck her up and make her up, and in other words, get her ready for her wedding, and I will play the housewife just for tonight. And here we go, scene 3, Juliet's bedroom. Juliet sends her mother and the nurse away. Remember, this is the night, it's Tuesday night, so it is the night before the wedding. So everything has been kind of moved up, a tad bit. So this is the night before the wedding. And here we go. Let me start playing that.
Aye, those attires are best. But, gentle nurse, I pray thee leave me to myself tonight, for I have need of many orisons to move the heavens to smile upon my state, which, well thou knowest, is cross and full of sin.
What, are you busy, ho? Need you my help?
No, madam, we have called such necessaries as are behooveful for our state tomorrow. So please you, let me now be left alone, and let the nurse this night sit up with you, for I am sure you have your hands full all in this so sudden business.
Good night. Get thee to bed and rest, for thou hast need.
Farewell. God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint, cold fear thrills through my veins that almost freezes up the heat of life. I'll call them back again to comfort me. Nurse! What?
Think about this for a second. She's about to take a potion that's going to make it seem, it's going to slow her pulse down. It's going to make it seem like she's dead. It's going to make her cold. So she is going to basically, it's going to put her like in a coma. This is frightening. This is scary. And you can tell here from her words that she is scared to death here. And there's so many things that could possibly go wrong.
Should she do here? My dismal scene I needs must act alone. Come, vial. What if this mixture do not work at all? Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? No. No, this shall forbid it. Lie thou there.
And here we can see that she lays down a dagger. She puts a dagger in her bed, or a blade in her bed while she sleeps. I guess just in case the potion doesn't work, then she'll, just finish it off herself, basically, is what she's thinking.
What if it be a poison which the friar subtly hath ministered to have me dead?
And now she names 3 things that might go wrong with this potion. And the first one here is, what about if the friar is trying to kill me? And he gave me something to just like kill me off. You know, after all, he did marry me to Romeo, and we both know that he wasn't supposed to do that, right? So what about if he's just trying to get rid of the evidence?
Lest in this marriage he should be dishonored because he married me before to Romeo. I fear it is. And yet methinks it should not, for he hath still been tried a holy man. How if, when I am laid into the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? There's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault, to whose foul mouth no healthsome air breathes in, and there die strangled ere my Romeo comes? Or, if I live, is it not very like the horrible conceit of death and night, together with the terror of the place, as in a vault an ancient receptacle where for this many 100 years the bones of all my buried ancestors?
And then the other thing she worries about, what about if she wakes up in a Capulet tomb, like in the vault, and she can't breathe, she suffocates because she's, you know, in there with all these bones and all these dead people? You know, that's frightening.
Ancestors are packed, where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies festering in his shroud. Whereas they say at some hours in the night spirits resort. Alack, alack, is it not like that I, so early waking, what with loathsome smells and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, that living mortals hearing them run mad? Oh, if I wake, shall I not be distraught, environed with all these hideous fears, and madly play with my forefathers' joints, and pluck the mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and in this rage, as with some great kinsman's bone, as with a...
And then the other thing that she's worried about is, what about if she wakes up and she just loses her mind, if she goes insane in there? And you really can hear in the person who's reading this text, you can really hear the fear in her voice. Like, she is scared to death to take this potion. This is a scary thing.
The club dash out my desperate brains! Oh, look! Methinks I see my cousin's ghost, seeking out Romeo that did spit his body upon a rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt, stay! Romeo, Romeo, Romeo! Here's drink. I drink to thee.
Okay, and there she drank her potion. Tell me a few words from Juliet's speech, which I think is powerful, right? How do you think she feels about death? How does it sound like she feels about death? She describes death and she uses a few adjectives there. Yeah, she is terrified. This is not something that she is looking forward to. She does not, and although she has threatened to kill herself several times during the play, right? We know that she is terrified of actually dying. She is terrified of waking up in the tomb, but she really does not see another way out for her. Okay. So guys, that's it for us today. Those are all our questions, and that is Act 4, Scenes 1, 2, and 3 of Romeo and Juliet. I will be on Edsby all day today, so if you have any questions, reach out to me there. Thank you for joining me today, and have a great week. Remember that you need 9,000 words for your journal by the end of this week, and that we are approaching the end of our journal writing project. At the end of the journal writing project, you will get a separate grade depending on how many words you have written. So we will be talking again, hopefully, and I will see some of you again on Wednesday. Take care, and